thank you for doing this. How do you pull this out? Frightening. This is not how decent people behave. This is not how people who want to be president behave.
You know, there's not many people watching anyway. So,
is there anything you regret?
This is sort of the last gasp.
I know you believe that Mr. Trump will be a better president of the United States.
That's what we're talking about.
Total disaster. What are you going to do about it?
Let's skip over that.
But he's going to win?
They're overwhelmingly popular with the American people. Well, look, I never thought that would happen. Never, 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 never. If it fails here, Katie bar the door.
We'll see.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Rock and roll. All right, we are ready. We are ready for the nightmare, tire fire, dumpster fire, train wreck, car wreck, Titanic sinking of what is about to come out of ABC News. Now, we are, of course, live. We have our little setup here. Let me adjust my camera, and we are ready to rock. What you see on your screen here is what is going to soon be Joe Biden being interviewed by Bill Clinton's former press secretary, George Stephanopoulos. So really tough questions, guys. It's going to be a wild one. Joe Biden has had a wild one, and ladies and gentlemen, we will take that interview live with the entire rest of the world in just a few minutes. There are already some headlines out of this interview that are going to be absolutely spectacular. So hop into that chat. We are up in the chat right now. I'm going to be commenting too. I want to roll with you guys. Joe Biden doesn't know if he saw the debate. This is the number one headline to come out of this right now. Joe Biden not sure if he saw the debate. I don't know. Did I see the debate? I'm not sure. If you're seeing this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is my little earpiece falling out. Okay. I don't claim to be the president of the United States, so who the hell cares, right? But everything that I just said to you in the last 2 minutes made more sense than the potato soup that we saw out of this lobotomized, handicapped president that the Democrats are trying to shove down our throats another time. And that is officially what we're calling it, okay? This is elder abuse. This is the abuse of a man who no longer has a functional brainstem. And this guy is cooked. He's completely cooked. I don't know if I saw the debate. This is Joe Biden. This is the headlines. These are the headlines right now. Here's another one. Biden spouts a 107-word stream of gibberish when asked why he performed so poorly at the debate. Look at this. Joe Biden says once again that he's prepared to face Donald Trump in another debate. So I guess good for us. Way to go. Joe Biden officially saying today that he is the president. Here we go. Here we go. From Joe Biden. I am the nominee. I am the president. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Let me adjust here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm the president. I'm the nominee. I'm staying in the race. It's like the best thing ever. Thanks, dude. This is so awesome. And before we get here live, okay, here we go. I guess we expect this to pop up live. ALX. Here we go. Here's the actual debate. All right. Whew. Smoking.
Question. The problem is here for a lot of Americans watching, as you've said, going back to 2020, watch me. Yep. To people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events in a row, including till 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate. I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds, overwhelming response, no slipping. And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
And how quickly did it come to you that you were having that bad night?
Well, it came to me as having a bad night when I realized that even when I was answering a question, even when they turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me. I'm not blaming it on that. But I realized that I just wasn't in control.
Part of the other concern is that this seems to fit into a pattern of decline that has been reported on recently. New York Times had a headline on July 2nd, Biden's lapses are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. Here's what they wrote. People who have spent time with President Biden over the last few months or so said the lapses appear to have grown more frequent, more pronounced, and after Thursday's debate, more worrisome. By many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr. Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5 years ago. Similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes. I also was the guy who put together a peace plan for the Middle East that may be coming to fruition. I was also the guy that expanded NATO. I was also the guy that grew the economy. All the individual things that were done were ideas I had or I fulfilled. I moved on. And so, for example, well, that was true then. What's Biden done lately? Today, just announced 200,000 new jobs. We're moving in a direction that no one's ever taken on. I know you know this from the days in the government. I took on Big Pharma. I beat them. No one said I could beat them. I took on all the things we said we got done. We were told we couldn't get done. And part of it is what I said when I ran was I wanted to do three things. Restore some decency to the office, restore some support for the middle class instead of trickle-down economics, built from the middle out and the bottom up, the way the wealthy still do fine, everyone does better, and unite the country.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country. I don't think we're a country of losers, that he points out. I don't think America's in tough shape. I think America's on the cusp of breaking through in so many incredible opportunities. This next term, I'm going to make sure we have straighten out the tax system. I'm going to make sure we're in a situation where we have health care for all people, or we're in a position where we have child care and elder care, free up, and all these things. One thing I'm proudest of is, remember when my economic plan was put forward, a lot of the mainstream economists said it's not going to work. Well, guess what? You now have 16 Nobel laureates, 16 of them in economics, saying that Biden's next term would be, based on what he wants to do, enormous success. Trump's plan would cause a recession, would significantly increase inflation. I've made great progress, and that's what I plan on doing, and we can do this.
I understand that, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm asking you is about your personal situation. Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
Can I run the 110 flat? No, but I'm still in good shape.
Are you more frail?
No.
I know you
Come
spoke.
keep my schedule.
I know you spoke with your doctor after the debate. What did he say?
He said, he just looked at me. He said, "You're exhausted." I said, "Look, I have medical doctors travel me everywhere, every president does, as you know. Medical doctors, some of the best in the world, travel me everywhere I go. I have an ongoing assessment of what I'm doing. They don't hesitate to tell me if they think there's something wrong."
I know you said you have an ongoing assessment. Have you had a full neurological and cognitive evaluation?
I get a full neurological test every day with me. And I've had a full physical. I had, I've been at Walter Reed for my physicals. Yes, the answer is
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
no one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. Not only am I campaigning, but I'm running the world. And that's not how it sounds like hyperbole. But we are the essential nation in the world. Madeleine Albright was right. And every single day, for example, today, before I come out here, I'm on the phone with Prime Minister of, anyway, I shouldn't get into detail, but with Netanyahu. I'm on the phone with the new Prime Minister of England. I'm working on what we're doing with regard to in Europe, with regard to expansion of NATO and whether it's going to stick. I'm taking on Putin. I mean, every day, there's no day I go through, they're not those decisions I have to make every single day.
And you have been doing that, and the American people have been watching, yet their concerns about your age and your health are growing. So that's why I'm asking, to reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time left in this campaign. It's over 125 days.
So
I'll
the
make
answer,
a decision.
the right answer right now is no, you don't want to do that, right?
No, I've already done it.
You talked a lot about your successes at the beginning of this interview, and I don't want to dispute that. I don't want to debate that. But as you know, elections are about the future, not the past. They're about tomorrow, not yesterday. And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm going to put NATO together, the future. No one thought I could expand it.
Oh,
The guy that shut Putin down, no one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, out, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget. And for example, when I decided we used to have 40% of the computer chip, and we invented the chip, that little chip, the computer chip. It's in everything from cell phone to weapons. And so we used to have 40%, we're down to virtually nothing. So I get in the plane against the advice of everybody, and I fly to South Korea. I convinced them to invest in the United States, billions of dollars. Now we have tens of billions of dollars being invested in the United States, making us back in a position where we're going to own that industry again. We have, anyway, I don't want to take too much credit. I have a great staff.
But I guess my point is, all that takes a toll. Do you have the mental and physical capacity to do it for another 4 years?
I believe so. I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I did. Look, I'm running again because I think I understand best what has to be done to take this nation to a completely new level. We're on our way. We're on our way. And look, the decision recently made by the Supreme Court on immunity, the next president of the United States, it's not just about whether he or she knows what they're doing. It's not about a conglomerate of people making decisions. It's about the character of the president. The character of the president is going to determine whether or not this Constitution is employed the right way.
And we should note that ABC News offered Donald Trump the same opportunity for a one-on-one interview, and he declined. We'll have more of George Stephanopoulos' exclusive interview with President Biden in just 60 seconds. Stay with us.
okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's mute this. All right, let's mute this. Okay. And here we go. So I need to apologize to everybody. Here's what happened, and we're live, so what can you do? So and now you guys get a shot of my little tree over here, my little plastic tree. So the ABC stunningly took their live feed and ended it, and then restarted it. And we didn't share that audio, and I deeply apologize. It led to 30 to 60 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds of no audio, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. It's the best we can do when we are live here. So, thank you for sticking with us. Obviously, we're going to hop right back to the interview. It said 60 seconds, so Klein, just be ready to rock. And let's take the closed captioning off, please. Refresh. With that YouTube Premium, let's rock and roll. Okay, so the chat is rolling. Let's go, baby. We are gonna rock and roll here again. Here it comes.
Welcome back. Let's return now to ABC's George Stephanopoulos' exclusive interview with President Joe Biden.
I'll see you in the chat.
Let me ask you a tougher, more personal question. Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
Yes, I am, because George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think, as some of senior economist and senior foreign policy specialist say, if I stop now, I'd go down in history as a pretty successful president. No one thought I could get done what we got done.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
You say that, and let me challenge you, because you were close, but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in an off year than almost any incumbent president ever has done. They said in 2023, all the tough races, we're not going to win. I went into all those areas, all those districts, and we won.
All that is true, but 2020 was a close race. And your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar. Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged. Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, I sure had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together, like working anyway. But look,
do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think it's all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind, there's only one poll I'm really far behind: CBS poll and NBC. And
New York Times and NBC both have you about 6 points behind in the popular vote.
That's exactly right. New York Times had me behind before anything having to do with this race. Had me behind 10 points. 10 points had me behind. Nothing's changed substantially in the debate, the New York Times poll.
Just when you look at the reality, though, Mr. President, I mean, you won the popular vote in 2020, but it was still deadly close in the Electoral College.
7 million votes.
Yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
You know, the heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Look, Trump is a pathological liar. Trump is, he is. Have you ever seen anything Trump did that benefited somebody else, not him? Oh, you can't answer, I know.
I've questioned him and his allies as persistently as any journalist has.
No, I know you have. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
I'm not being critical. But look, I mean, the man is a congenital liar. As I said, they pointed out in that debate, he lied 27, 28 times the times, or whatever number, over 20 times. Talk about how good his economy was, how he brought down inflation, how this is a guy who, unlike only other president other than him is Hoover, lost more jobs than he created. This is a guy who told us to put bleach in our arms to deal with COVID, with over a million people.
Lie.
This is a guy who talks about wanting to get rid of the healthcare provision we put in place. This is a guy who wants to give the power back to big pharma to be able to charge exorbitant prices for drugs. This is a guy who wants to undo every single thing I've done. Every single thing.
I understand that. I understand that's why you want to stay in the race. But if you convinced yourself that only you can defeat him,
I convinced myself of two things. I'm the most qualified person to beat him, and I know how to get things done.
if you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
on the practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do,
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
you're sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'll get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down. I mean, these hypotheticals, George,
What?
But it's not that hypothetical anymore. I grant that they have not requested the meeting, but it's been reported.
I've met with them. I've met with a lot of these people. I've talked with them regularly. I had an hour conversation with Hakeem. I had more time than that with Jim Clyburn. I spent time with many hours off and on the last little bit with Chuck Schumer. It's not like I had all the governors.
I agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down, but if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
Good.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
Saw it today. How many people do you get draw crowds like I drew today? Yeah, 60 today. Huh?
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
You can draw a big crowd, but what does he say? Who's he have? I'm the guy supposedly in trouble. We raised $38 million within 4 days after this. We have over 1 million individual contributors.
Oh.
Individual contributors. Less than $200. I mean, I've not seen what you're proposing.
You haven't seen the fall off in the polls. You haven't seen the reports of discontent in the Democratic Party, House Democrats, Senate Democrats.
I've seen it from the press.
So much to analyze. And so for more insight on this interview, we're joined now by contributing political correspondent Rachel Bade, who's also author of the Politico
Wait a second.
Playbook. Rachel, thanks for joining us.
Hold on.
I know that every source you have in Washington is going through
Hold
the
up.
tea leaves
Hold up.
and
Hold up.
looking at
Okay,
it. Is
so
there
let's-
anything you or they saw tonight that is moving the
Okay.
needle on this? And
Let's cut that audio.
Performance.
Guys, is that the end of the interview? That doesn't make any sense to me. Is that the end of the interview? Because it ended on such a strange note. I want my producers to confirm this, please. Like, ended on such an odd. It was like a very odd way to end the interview. We have a ton of interview clips, but guys, that was strange. Is that another commercial break? Is what I'm trying to get at here. That's definitely another commercial break, right? So they're going to come back with more Joe Biden. Okay, so stick with us. Ladies and gentlemen. Again, I want to confirm this. Yeah, I'm fairly certain they're going to go to the top of the hour. Here it is 8:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're already seeing the headlines coming out as soon as that interview comes back, because it ended in such a peculiar place. I can't. There's no way that they're going to end the interview in the middle of a Joe Biden comment. So I assume they're just going to come back with more interview, unless Joe Biden got up and walked out. which may happen, which may be the case. Biden claims poor debate performance was due to Trump distracting him and refuses to take a neurological test. He said that Biden's weak excuses. All right. Biden suggests he invented the computer chip during make or break ABC News interview. It's like, you just love it. Biden spouts 107-word gibberish when asked why he performed so poorly at the debate. That's it. This is unbelievable. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I apologize. We'll always tell you when we get it, we'll always, cop. There was a little sound glitch at the beginning of that because ABC News ended their feed and then restarted their feed, and we have to load the audio, and so we did that, but it just took us a second, so we apologize. And then two, I'm sorry, guys, that was a weird way to end an interview. So Joe Biden's in the middle of talking, and he just goes, brr, brr, brr. Did they cut? They must have cut him. They had to have cut him. They must have cut him because this was going so poorly. Let's jump to some of the clips here, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden. Let's start with Joe Biden being asked, "Did you watch the debate? Do you even remember the debate?" And Joe Biden going, "Nope, not really."
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look, the whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
Look at this expression. Here we go. Look at this expression. This is like the jaws, the mouth agape, the dead eyes. Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. You ever had a relative who was dealing with something like Parkinson's, dementia? This is Alzheimer's. Look at this. You'll know exactly this expression. You'll know it. The mouth agape, the eyes. There's nothing going on there. Nobody's home. The lights are barely flickering and nobody's home. The elevator's gone. It's not that the elevator doesn't go to the top floor. The elevator's out of commission. Listen to this word salad here. When George Stephanopoulos is like, dude, you sucked at the debate and Donald Trump got out a giant wooden paddle and kicked your ass. What do you say about that? Listen to what Joe Biden has to say.
You and your team have said you had a bad night. But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate,
Yes.
Spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked them, they did a COVID test because we were trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
So wait a second. So Joe Biden had so this is why this doesn't make sense. All right. We pay attention. Our superpower, if you follow the show, our superpower is we're just alive and we pay attention. Okay. We don't claim to be particularly super smart. We just follow pattern recognition. Joe Biden went to Waffle House and then did multiple in-person campaigning, gripping and grinning, they call it, right? The grip and grin. You shake your hands. Like Joe Biden did this. He went to a black neighborhood in Atlanta and went to the Waffle House at like 11 p.m. at night And so Joe Biden's sitting there saying he thinks he has COVID or a virus, and then he goes and slobbers all over these people. Give me an article on Joe Biden at the Waffle House. You see Joe Biden's literally like coughing and like licking people's waffles at this Waffle House, like slobbering over and sniffing all these ladies' weaves. Like Joe Biden's just going in, right? Straight up, give me that head and shoulders. All right. And so if Joe Biden's so contagious and so sickly and so disgusting, then why was he doing that to people? Why did he go to a predominantly black neighborhood, to Waffle House, to try and infect all those people? And then Joe Biden went and did a campaign event for like a lot of people. This is what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden did this in the days afterwards. We have it all on film. Okay, we can show you. Here you go. Here's Joe Biden getting in there. Okay. This was such a weird event. Here, look at that. This is called the grip and grin, okay? This is Joe Biden taking his weird old syphilitic hands, doing the full diaper crouch there in the doorway, and then taking his old, diseased, COVID-laden, syphilitic hands and wiping them all over. So is this what a man does when he is like so sick with a virus he can barely stay awake? That's what Joe Biden just said. So none of the excuses make any sense. The only excuse that actually makes sense is Joe Biden's handicapped. That's it. That's the only excuse that makes sense. And then when you see the dresses that Jill Biden wears, you start to think that maybe there's something also like deeply mentally wrong with Joe Biden. But that's not what we're talking about here. Okay, so here's a photo of Joe Biden straight up taking whatever disease he has on his hand. Maybe it's something brand new. Maybe it's hot off the presses hot from Wuhan, okay? Hot from Wuhan, hottest track of the summer. Dr. Fauci cooking up in the lab, brand new thing. And here's Joe Biden taking it and wiping it on somebody's hand. Here's patient zero right here. Typhoid Mary. Look at Joe Biden. Look, he's like wobbling, like wandering around with Alice Cooper here, handing out 20s. Doesn't matter. Inflation. Look at him. There he is again. The Pens ad, doing his like little, like filling his diaper in the crouch in the doorway. So I don't get it. None of the excuses make sense. He says, "Oh, I was so tired. I was jet lagged." That doesn't make, dude. You just went to Europe. Okay, have you gone to Europe? Tell me. Have you ever gone to Europe? I've gone to Europe. Okay, I'm not trying to brag. But look, a lot of people go to Europe. This is like a thing. My family took me to Europe, and I don't remember being jet lagged, right? Like when I was a kid. Like we did a family vacation. Oh, you go to London. Oh, you go to Paris. You see the Eiffel Tower. Were you like jet lagged? Were you like incapable of moving for years, days, weeks on end? Have you ever gone to Europe? Have you gone to places that are actually far away, like Australia or Japan? Those are really long trips. Like maybe you could have an excuse that you're jet lagged, but not for 12 days. By the way, jet lag doesn't make you mentally handicapped. Jet lag doesn't make you smooth-brained, turn off your brainstem. That's not what jet lag does. So it makes literally no sense. None of the excuses make sense. So here are the excuses. I was jet lagged. I had a cold that I literally rubbed on everybody after crouching in the doorway like this, or it was my staff. They've like gone through every excuse that they possibly have. It makes no sense. The only excuse that makes sense is Joe Biden is mentally handicapped. All right. And to prove that, here's another answer from Joe Biden.
But 2020 was a close race, and your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar. Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged. Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, sure I had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together.
Like wars around the world? Actually, you know what? I'm going to hand it to... I can't believe I have to say this in front of so many people live. Joe Biden told the truth. I'm so ashamed of myself. Joe Biden told the truth. What have I been saying? I've been saying for a long time that Joe Biden's a dirty old degenerate liar. And I've been wrong. Joe Biden did tell the truth here. Joe Biden said that he's been busy starting wars all around the world. Wow. Holy guacamole. Joe Biden told the truth.
not when people.
You've had months to
Wow.
challenge him.
Oh, I sure had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together.
I've been doing a lot of things like starting wars around the world. All right, here, let's start some more with Joe. But here's another absolute ringer from that interview.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Oh, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I got a clip. I got a dual clip here. Here we go. Another ringer from the interview.
It's about your age and your health are growing. So that's why I'm asking, to reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time left in this campaign. It's over 125 days.
So
I'll
the
make a
answer,
decision.
the right answer right now is no, you don't want to do that right
No,
now.
I've already done it.
What do you mean you've already done it? And could you how about you just speak English on this interview? Can you just speak English on this interview? Try it. Go, Joe, right now.
I mean, I just, anyway, I don't want to take too much credit. I have a great staff.
But all the
Okay, great. Let's just let's just rewind the clock 24 hours. And I'm going to get to the Trump crowd thing because that really pissed me off. Guys, can we get that clip? That really makes me angry. Joe Biden saying that he has bigger crowds than Donald Trump. Okay, that's not, I mean, that is, you are talking galaxy brain level. No. But you know what? Of course, Joe Biden thinks that because nobody's honest with Joe Biden around him. Joe Biden can live in total and complete delusion. Joe Biden lied about the polls. You heard him lie about the polls. In 3 straight clips here, you hear Joe Biden lie about the polls, and Joe Biden can live in delusion. Like, for instance, this is an interview that Joe Biden did just 24 hours ago. We're locking in a couple more clips here from the actual ABC interview that we just saw, so get ready. But this is an interview from 24 hours ago where Joe Biden calls himself the first black woman president.
I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, serve with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
Oh, man. Pretty brutal, baby. Pretty brutal. Joe Biden, though, is somebody who, can't tell him no, right? Can't tell him no. Joe Biden just at the White House, just want to cover really quickly over the last 24 hours, because it's been a brutal 24 hours for Joe Biden. At the White House, Joe Biden didn't know that it was the 4th of July yesterday, or he just thought that, or he just saw Kamala Harris on stage and said, ho, ho, ho.
And we give thanks to our commander-in-chief, the President of the United States, the extraordinary President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ho, ho, ho! Happy Independence Day!
Then, when that like absurd event was over, Joe Biden decided that he was just going to literally walk off stage. He just decided to walk off stage by himself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And here we go. This is, by the way, this is the guy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the guy. This is the guy. Yeah. So, Joe Biden was just on ABC telling all of us that he's perfectly fine and that everything's fine and that he refuses to take a test. He refuses to get tested. He can't even do the first stair, by the way. He can barely get down this first stair. Look at his staff, ready to check themselves into Alcoholics Anonymous before they even have a sip of booze. And here's Joe Biden just wobbling around. We knew this was going to be bad, ladies and gentlemen, when Joe Biden didn't have a teleprompter at the White House. He didn't have a teleprompter for like 60 straight seconds at the White House and decided to make impromptu remarks yesterday. And here we go. This is tough to watch. Watch his staff, and it'll tell you the story. This will tell you everything as we load up some more clips from this interview, because this was a newsworthy interview. This was a nightmare for Joe Biden. Here's Joe Biden yesterday trying to do 60 seconds on a microphone without a teleprompter.
There's 7,000 people waiting at the gate to get in. So if I don't finish this, they can't come in. So maybe if you're hanging around, I'm going to sneak back out if that's okay, all right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember that famous expression?
Hold on.
They also serve who only stand and wait. I remember when our son was deployed, my wife would go to stand in the sink in the morning, drinking her coffee, and saying that prayer, worrying, always concerned, and all of you. So we owe you. This could not be done without the family support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you. You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One last thing.
Oh, my God.
You know, I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. We go on the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Thank you.
I'm not.
I wonder how many times they told Joe Biden to say thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a couple more massive takeaways from this interview, which is just an absolute and total nightmare. I just don't know, like at what point. First off, look at the difference between his face and his skull and his neck. Like the difference in the bronzer or self-tanner that they use on the guy, how creepy that is. And then also look at the faces of his staff. You just see, look at the pain in his staff's face. Look at these guys. Look at these guys behind him. That's the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, their glorified military contractor. These staffers with their little badges. Look at the pain. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's time to speak to you again. It's like so bad, man. This interview was so bad.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
What are you going to do?
Saw it today. How many people can you draw crowds like I drew today? You find me any more enthusiastic than today? Huh?
I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
He can draw a big crowd, but what does he say? Who's he have? I'm the guy supposedly in trouble.
Okay, well, this is what Joe Biden's crowd looked like today. Here's the Joe Biden crowd. Okay? He can barely fill a high school gymnasium. This is a high school gymnasium. Sorry, I'm trying not to scroll too quickly here. It's a high school gymnasium, and then this is Donald Trump's crowd. Is this, ALX, where are we at here on this photo? Where are we at here? Is this also in Wisconsin? Yeah, okay. So this is also, they're both in Wisconsin. So that's the side-by-side here. So also, you'll note a little Easter egg in the Trump photo. You got the Trump boat back there. Pretty awesome. Kick-ass Trump boat. Do you have a boat? Have you ever flown a Trump flag from your boat? Are you even an American? If you have a boat, you must fly a Trump flag from your boat. This is what it looks like. Joe Biden in Wisconsin. What did Joe Biden say in Wisconsin? Oh, yeah, it was really great. Joe Biden said that he'll beat Donald Trump in 2020. Yeah, it was awesome. Great job, Joe. I'll beat Donald Trump again. I'll beat Donald Trump in 2020. And Joe Biden actually did make some news today, which was the best news that we've ever heard in our lives. All right, are you prepared? Are you prepared for the best news of the day? This is the best news of the day. Joe Biden said he's so excited for the next debate with Donald Trump.
I hope he'll debate me. I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
If he's in, will you commit to debating?
I'm committing now, absolutely, whether he's in or not.
Okay, well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope he'll debate me. Boy, shucks. So that's the best clip of the day. The best That's the best news of the day. The best clip of the day is actually not of Joe Biden. It's of Gavin Newsom endorsing Donald Trump. Did you know this? This one's great. Here's Gavin Newsom at a Donald Trump at a Joe Biden campaign event, talking about how incredible of a president Donald Trump is.
Between that reality and the reality that we've experienced with this great American comeback, the man of integrity, honor, decency in Donald Trump, with an extraordinary, Joe Biden, man of decency.
We're going to restore decency and goodness and great and accomplishments. That's why we need Donald Trump. This is Gavin Newsom. All right. Joe Biden, why does your campaign suck so much? Why are you losing so badly to Donald Trump? Let's listen.
I mean, on a more practical level, Washington Post just reported in the last hour that Senator Mark Warner is assembling a group of senators together to try and convince you to stand down because they don't think you can win.
Well, Mark is a good man. We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination too. Mark's not. Mark and I have a different perspective. I respect him.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
I go into detail with them. I've spoken to all of them in detail, including Jim Clyburn. Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down.
Okay, so I'm doing my best not to dive into theology here, all right? I am just a simple Christian, and I'm reading my way through the New Testament. So let me tell you this. Christ makes it really clear that nobody knows when the Lord's coming. So it's a weird thing, and I think like every Christian like agrees with this. This is like pretty obvious. It's a weird thing to say the Lord's not coming down as a Christian, because the basic tenets of Christianity is actually the Lord could come at any time. And so we best be prepared, right? So strange thing to say.
And race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in an off year than almost any incumbent president ever has done.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really, I mean, again, my producers are sending me Bible verses here saying, this is definitely strange. So why would, if Jesus himself said, here we go, I'm going to read you from Matthew 24. Jesus himself says, nobody knows the day or the hour. Nobody knows, not even the angels in heavens or the Son, but only the Father upon the return of Christ. When will Christ return? So for Joe Biden to say, Jesus ain't coming back. Jesus is not coming down. Again, it's very strange. It's a very, very strange thing. All right, so I am swapping out actually a battery here on our live. So I don't know. Okay, thanks. Y'all are going to meet my wife. This is Kate. Oh, thanks. I needed to get my charger, actually, so that we can keep going. You guys might have seen I actually just lost my light there. Do you need something else? Because I needed to get the charger. Kate, how'd you like Joe Biden?
Ooh, I mean, that was hard to watch. The debate or like tonight.
Kate's from Delaware, so Kate knows. Kate's been following Joe Biden's career a little closer than most, actually.
Yeah. It was painful to watch. It's been painful to watch his entire decline. He's always been a bad guy, but watching like such a wretched man be like so ill and incapable of even forming a complete sentence is like, it's just painful. Everything about it's painful.
So you've seen Joe Biden. I wasn't planning on doing an interview, but I needed my charger, and she brought it, so why not? Do you think that Joe Biden, like, how? Because he's been your senator your entire life, right?
Yes.
Like, because you're from Delaware, so he's gotten alarmingly worse, right?
Alarmingly,
Okay.
yes.
She's also a nurse, so
Yes. Joe Biden used to, Delaware's a really, really tiny state. It's the second smallest state in the union. Joe Biden is like a ubiquitous figure in Delaware politics, and my family's always been involved in Republican politics. So I've known Joe Biden my entire life. And he used to be like a kind of funny, kind of charming man. And now he's just mean. And I don't know, like, one of the things that really stuck out to me in the debate was how petty he was with name calling. He must have called Donald Trump like 15 different names as if they were kids on the playground, as if he was backfighting Corn Pop in the swimming pool. Gonna go get his razor blade. Grab a chain.
is it true that I've done so much material on corn pop that I actually had to go buy some corn pops because I was starting to get hungry?
Well, it's true that you would eat any cereal at any time.
Okay.
So. Did you use that as an excuse? Yes.
Okay. If Joe Biden could please fight Golden Grams next, or Lucky Charm, that would be awesome. So, could you, not to put you on the spot here, but since we do actually talk about this a lot, can you fill me in on dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's? Like, what actually happens here? Like, what would you, again, not to have you diagnose somebody that obviously I don't think I'm not sure if you've even ever met Joe Biden, but can you like what are we watching here with Joe Biden from a medical perspective? Again, she is a trauma nurse that's still a nurse, licensed nurse, and seen a lot.
Well, this is definitely not my field of expertise, but if I was doing an assessment on a patient in an environment where I was taking care of them, I would assess him as having cognitive decline and not being capable of, I'd probably assess him as not being capable of being an independent arbiter of his own medical decisions, requiring, to have some kind of legal intervention between him and the ability for him to make his own medical decisions. I mean, what's probably happening is the demyelinization of his overall nervous system in his brain that's causing this inability for him to have cohesive and consistent thoughts.
My producers are telling me that everybody is in the comment section is one saying that you're pretty, but two are asking who you are. So since you don't regularly appear on the program, this is my wife. We actually got married the weekend of Donald Trump's victory in 2016.
Yeah, we did. Ben was at his victory party, so our wedding was full of MAGA hats. And
we got married in Delaware, ironically.
we did. Well, I mean, I'm born in. My family is fourth generation from Delaware, so we have quite a legacy there. But now I'm proud to be a Floridian.
Yeah. So this is my wife, Nurse Kate. You can follow her at Nurse Kate on Instagram, where she does all of her at Nurse Kate Johnson.
Yes,
Get the handle right.
YouTube and X are, well, X in particular is too mean of a platform for me.
You can follow her on YouTube. So final takeaways as somebody who's, everyone wants to appeal to like the suburban housewife, right? Like that's like the vote, and that's apparently the vote that Joe Biden's doing so well at, right? And every poll tends to show that. You watched the interview I could hear in the other room, you were watching this interview.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway? Has this convinced you that Joe Biden is not mentally handicapped?
My takeaway from this interview is Joe Biden is married to the worst person in this country. Like the fact that his wife would allow him to be in the position that he's in, humiliating himself, like utterly degrading his name and his family, not caring about this country, not caring about what this is doing to the national presence. Like she's like truly Lady Macbeth. And I think it is like the sensibilities of femininity to be sympathetic and maybe even empathetic to the plight of Joe Biden. But what I cannot abide is the absolute hatred that Jill must have for him to be able to have him in the position that he's in and stand by and like laugh and cackle and like think it's okay. I mean, literally over my dead body would somebody treat my husband like that.
You heard it here. I think this is as good as a signed contract, but I'm sorry, but like you bring up such a great point. And again, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but and my wonderful wife was just bringing me a charger because I actually needed the charger I had on the computer setup, the streaming setup here wasn't working correctly, so I needed a new one. And so, here's what I think is really important is how can women be okay with that, right? Like, presumably women will be slightly more emotive and would say like, it's like family values and like morality and the decisions you make. Like, why does Jill Biden still get Vogue covers when she's such an absolute monster? Like, presumably women, if you're a woman in the chat, shout yourself out and say are you repulsed by Jill Biden and her treatment of her husband? Like, on a moral level, putting party aside, you got to at some point be like, this woman's a witch. Like, she's a monster.
I honestly think that there is going to be a sharp change. Like, this is my prediction. I think there's going to be a sharp change in the amount of women who are supportive of Joe Biden because they're watching this happen. It's painful to watch Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline. It's painful to watch like a super stage interview like this. Like, it doesn't get easier than an ABC interview with an interviewer who is literally part of your party, like invested in getting you elected. And to be unable to perform in this environment, I think is going to start to make people really sour on in the entire Biden family, as if they weren't already. Like, I think there's been enough of the scandals amongst their kids that people are like, okay, well, your family's obviously corrupt. You clearly are like not good people. And then, for him to continue to hammer this, like, oh, it's about decency and we're restoring decency to the White House. Like, nobody's buying that. I think especially not women.
Yeah, like how I think that actually maybe you could expound on this from a medical perspective, but this is pretty like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, dementia. Like, a lot of people experience this, right? Like, a lot of people at least see this up close. Somebody in someone's family generally has this. I know my family has. And a lot of people has seen like end stage life and handicaps, right? Like, in their family members. And so you sort of put yourself in that perspective. For me, it's my Nana, who was wheelchair bound my entire life. And I deserve to be in prison if I put her into a rock quarry to work, right? Like, so if I took my wheelchair bound grandmother, and who in your life it was infirmed, right? Who in your life is somebody who needed help, right? Is it an elderly member of your family? Perhaps it's somebody who had an accident. Perhaps it's somebody that has dementia, Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. But there are laws in most states, right, against abusing those kind of people and taking advantage of them. A lot of people deal with that, and they sort of see on like an empathetic level, you sort of have Joe Biden as a cutout, right, for that person. And you're like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine doing that to my Nana. That's my cutout, right? For Joe Biden. That's my Nana was handicapped and she was in a wheelchair. And like I would be a demon if I tried to like take advantage of that in some way.
Yes. I mean, yes, I think just period. Yes. Like my grandfather, who I adored, just passed away a few months ago. And while he was full of vigor for most of his life, at the very end, he was quite ill, and nobody could have imagined taking advantage of him in his weakest state. Even as the patriarch of our family, the reverence that we have, the love that we have for him would forbid us from ever doing anything to harm him in any way. At the end of his life, we were surrounding him to care for him and give back to him in whatever small way we could, not take from him. And that's, Joe Biden's family is obviously just taking from him. And so is the Democrat Party, frankly. Like the entire Democrat Party is looking at the polls and saying, well, nobody else can beat Donald Trump. Nobody else even stands a chance. So guess we got to stick with him. Like this entire thing is all about just taking advantage of him. Nobody loves him. Nobody cares about him.
So it is actually sad, and it actually is like all the more reason to vote for Donald Trump, because then you can put an end to this evil that's like ongoing, and that just brings disgrace to our country, because everybody around the world sees this, and people know this, like they know it in their bones, right? You know when something immoral is happening, and that is that's exactly what's happening in this country. Okay, so Joe Biden didn't convince you. You would say Joe Biden says he doesn't need a final question. Joe Biden says, I don't need any kind of a health test. I'm good. What's your take on that?
I mean, it's smart of him. Like if there's one thing that actually is a cohesive thought, it is his clarity to not take a cognitive exam. I think that is the smartest political move that he can make, actually. Like, don't prove to people that you are as cognitively declined as they already believe you to be.
And I think the dumbest move that you could make is call yourself a Christian and then say, that Jesus Christ isn't coming back. Again.
I mean, call yourself a Christian and then, like, in the name of Jesus, promote all kinds of things that are antithetical to basic Christian values. Like,
yeah, not good,
look,
ladies and gentlemen.
We'll pray for his soul. May God have mercy on his soul. But may the polls and the voters not be as kind.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that that this is great, if this is great, some Johnson family, this was us on the 4th of July. These are our beautiful kids. This is our family. This is my wife. If you're just tuning in,
they were happier than they looked.
Yeah. They were looking at so there's a giant table of donuts on our 4th of July, our little 4th of July parade in our neighborhood. So this is in our neighborhood here in Florida, and there's a huge table of donuts here, and the kids really wanted the donuts. Yeah. So, yeah.
They were pretty mad that mom is a not donut friendly mom.
They all got donuts. So, hey. Happy 4th of July.
Well, I didn't actually know that.
All right. Well,
now we know.
Okay, I'm going to go to my corn pops now. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. All right. Why not? These are the benefits of broadcasting from home, ladies and gentlemen. These are the benefits of broadcasting from home. It's a family show, isn't it? It's a family show, and I guess if there's one way to prove that, it's to welcome your wife. Like, why don't I do that more often? She's a nurse. She's like, we should totally do that more often. I'm sitting here looking at the chat. It looks like that was quite popular on the chat. So, okay, let's rock and roll, baby. Let's go. So, this is what Joe Biden says. I should have actually brought this up with Kate. This is what Joe Biden said to the New York Times. According to the New York Times. And yeah, I mean, hey, that was great to have a medical. What do I know? What do I know about dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff? Like, it was great to have a medical professional on. So, anyway, there you go, Nurse Kate. You can follow her on Instagram. She's a great account, health and wellness, and a bunch of positivity and stuff. Good Probably a lot better advice than I got. New York Times says it has a report about Joe Biden talking to a bunch of Democrat governors, and Joe Biden says no, I'm really healthy. Joe Biden was asked by a physician who also happens to be the governor of Hawaii, I'm about his health, and Joe Biden says I'm really healthy. It's just my brain. Oh, baby. Joe Biden tells governors he needs more sleep and less work at night. Oh, oh man. This according to the reporting. By the way, get in there and follow executive producer ALX as well, who keeps us rolling during these nights. So how are they going to get Joe Biden out? How are they going to do it, man? So strange. How are they going to do it? Well, they're going to take all his money. Look at this. Disney heiress, wealthy Democrat donor says they won't finance Biden until he drops out. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. And then here's Joe Biden committing stolen valor. Just something normal that the president does on the 4th of July. Donald Trump, I'm sorry, Joe Biden, because I'm going to play you an amazing Donald Trump video here in just a second to show you what a real president looks like and acts like on the 4th of July. Joe Biden saying that he's been in and out of battles with the military, like fighting, like in the battlefield with the military. No, I don't think so, Joe. You're just like a filthy old cretinous garbage pail draft dodger, just like all the rest of your kin. Joe's entire generation, whether it's John Kerry, all these people are draft dodgers. Bill Clinton, John Kerry, George W. Bush. They're all draft dodgers. Every single one of them. Joe Biden's one of them as well. Just a complete coward, scum, never served his country, only served himself his entire political career. And now, man, it looks like that political career is in rapid collapse. I don't know if we have any, I think we have some recent polling out. There's one thing that I think you guys will love. Here's what they let Joe Biden go out. There's one final thing. This is what they let Joe Biden go out on TV. This is like Joe Biden in front during the fireworks last night. I wouldn't go on a live stream from like the office in our house that doubles as like a play area for our kids with a giant schmutz ball on my shirt like that. What filth. Democrats go on and on and on, muling on and on endlessly about their respect for the dignity of the office of the presidency. And then they put a filthy handicapped man in there who splooges applesauce all over his jacket. You can see the applesauce was mixed with cinnamon, which is an extra treat, a special treat that Joe Biden gets during after nap time. If he does a nap time without doing a poopy in bed. So that's a special treat he gets from the night nurse, Jill. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead, and I just wanted to show you some polling here. So forgive me as I scroll through this for a second. There's some wild polling out showing exactly. Here we go. Forgive the scroll. Again, we're live. Again, we just let it rip. So here's Donald Trump. This is the Donald Trump two-way national average baked in with 11 polls, all post-debate. So this is the official, true post-debate polls. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Joe Biden saying he's winning or tied. No, dude, the spread is Trump +3. Unbelievable. Look at that. This is with every single poll. Remember, this was like Joe Biden +20 last time. And Joe Biden needed that special ballot dump magic at 3 a.m. Not going to happen this time. Too many smart people involved. We have a lot of faith in the RNC. Check this out. Here's just some other basic polling here. Look at that. General election, Trump versus Biden. Can you believe that? Look at that. just a dynamic vibe shift. Just a dynamic vibe shift. Holy smokes. Holy schmoly, ladies and gentlemen. Just wild. I mean, how do you come back? How do you do it? I don't know, baby. I don't know. I do know this, who we're going to bring back, okay? And this is who we're going to bring back. So I've shown you a lot of Joe Biden tonight. I haven't showed you my boy. I did show you, I did introduce you to my wife, and I did want to, before we end our stream, show you that this is her account. This is Nurse Kate. Look up 80, 88, 87, 89, 90,000 followers. 90,000 Americans can't be wrong, right? Right? Also, she might be on Threads. Hey, I'll actually need to look into this. She may be on Threads accidentally. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have to fix that. Something we will have to fix, but something we will fix quickly, meaning in the next 100 days, is Donald Trump returning to the White House. It was the 4th of July yesterday. I hope you had a wonderful one with all of your loved ones, and you know, I hope you honored and respected this great nation who's outlived a lot of bad presidents and a lot of failed leaders. And this nation is better and more powerful than our worst leader. The ideas behind this nation, and more importantly, our Christian values in this nation. And so I hope that you go into this weekend with faith. Joe Biden is not getting better. It's just going to be more hysterical. They're going to get more desperate. The Civil War is going to be delicious. Stay tuned to our channel. Like, share, and subscribe. We will show up for you sometimes. We're not going to promise to be perfect, but we thank you for sticking with us. We really sincerely love, care, and appreciate you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's make this happen. Let's make this our next 4th of July, okay? Manifest this with you and manifest this with me. I'm going to show you an awesome video here. Let's make this our next 4th of July, okay? Are you prepared? Here we go. This is going to be our next 4th of July. You, me, together, plus Nurse Kate, plus all the rest of us, plus the whole chat, which has been rocking tonight. So fast we can't even put the chat's so fast tonight we can't even put the comments on. Okay? We just love you. Freaking love you all. We're going to manifest this. This is going to be us next 4th of July, baby. You, me, and Donald Trump at the Lincoln Memorial with this celebration. It's your boy Benny. Love ya.
Together we are part of one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of America. It is the epic tale of a great nation whose people have risked everything for what they know is right and what they know is true. On this day, 243 years ago, our founding fathers pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to declare independence and defend our God-given rights. We will never forget that we are Americans, and the future belongs to us. The spirit of American independence will never fade, never fail, but will reign forever and ever and ever. To every citizen throughout our land, have a glorious Independence Day. Have a great 4th of July.